Hello and welcome to Countdown Bihar. This is an election, to put very simply, two old enemies becoming friends, fighting together, versus two old enemies becoming friends, fighting together. It's a complete turnaround. And ironically, we're right here opposite a historic Gandhi Maidan. This is where the JP movement started. This is where so many historic movements started. Manish, tell us a bit about this. I've attended many rallies here, but it's just been like the source of change in India.
Dr. Roy, almost all the political rallies, they take place here at this Gandhi Maidan. Besides that, JP started his famous JP movement from here, and you can see this is the JP statue. Where Lalu used to take oath. Lalu took oath in 95. All the political stalwarts, they came here. Besides that, one of the biggest statue of Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, is not in Gujarat, but here, right here in this Gandhi Maidan.
But Shekhar, I want to ask you, Jayaprakash Narayan, why is he so hidden now? You can hardly see him now.
Well, I think much like his philosophy and his politics, around this city, almost every big landmark is named after him. Starting with the airport and the new bridge that's come up now, railroad bridge. But that's what we do to all the people we idolize. After they go away, we forget their ideas and principles. We just keep naming things about them and building larger and larger statues for them, and where maybe some people become so unimportant over time because they've been used and thrown that you don't even bother building bigger statues for them. So you might build one for Patel, you might build one tomorrow for Nehru, even Gandhi, but Jayaprakash Narayan is forgotten because his revolution got defeated ultimately.
I mean, really, he used to be there in all his splendor. Now he's surrounded and covered. As you say, everything except his ideology and his principles are remembered.
Well, all his legatees are now ruling, following an ideology or philosophy that has nothing to do with Jayaprakash Narayan.
Right. Dorab, I know you're a follower of Jayaprakash Narayan. Why don't you have a picture of him behind you?
Well, because there are books behind him, but there is a book about him behind me, if you would like to see it.
Right.
But why are we saying this only of Jayaprakash Narayan? Every politician, every leader's great ideology has been abandoned. So why just single out Jayaprakash Narayan merely because you're in Patna? It's universal.
Right. Getting back to the elections, in front of this historic Gandhi Maidan, in front of Jayaprakash Narayan, who actually overthrew the Congress party for the first time in a big way. Back to elections, and look at what the base of this election is. It's a very, very clear-cut, huge margin for the BJP plus JDU. JDU is, of course, Nitish's party, and BJP, Mr. Modi. They have, if you look at the last two elections and the trends up to now, they have a base vote of about 50%. And the RJD plus Congress, the two old enemies that are coming together, 30%. So the lead margin of the JDU plus BJP is 20% margin starting off in this campaign. That's a huge lead to start with. And it's very rare that that kind of margin is overcome. But rare things do happen in elections, so don't assume anything yet. Now, why is it like this? It's really interesting that Nitish Kumar and the JDU is the smallest of all the alliances, a smallest party. Just let's have a look, but he's small enough to be important to either side, and he tips the scale. Let's just have a look at the arithmetic of this election. Nitish Kumar may be the smallest, but he has the power to tip the scale. The scale basically is the BJP on its own about 35%, the RJD plus Congress about 30%, and the JDU with a couple of allies is about 15%. 35, 30, 15. Now if the JDU, that's Nitish, goes with the BJP, they go to 50, and the scales go completely in favor of the JDU plus the BJP. If the JDU, like it earlier has done, goes with the RJD and the Congress, that goes to 45 as against 35 for the BJP, and it tips the scales in their favor. So he may be the smallest, but he's the strongest. And one of the factors in this alliance between the JDU and the BJP, in many ways, it's not an ideological match. It's not even a voter-based match. It's like opposites, but they work very well electoral arithmetically. Just look at just some simple examples. The BJP and JDU are a good fit when it comes to election arithmetic. Take the rural vote. JDU has an advantage over the BJP. Take the urban vote. The BJP has an advantage. Take women. The JDU has an advantage. Take men. The BJP has an advantage. Take the backward caste. The JDU has an advantage. Take the forward caste. The BJP. So they're covering all the bases by being opposites. Good electoral arithmetic, nothing to do with ideology. Who cares about ideology these days? This kind of a margin, what does it mean, this 20% margin? Just look at how much swing the BJP plus JDU can withstand in this election. They can resist large negative swings in votes. If there's 0%, they'll be at their current position, which is 34 seats to 5. Even a 7.5% swing away from them, the BJP and JDU, they're only down to 27 out of 40. Clear majority, with 12 going to the RJD plus Congress. And even a 10% swing away from them. And the BJP and the JDU end up with still 21 seats compared to the RJD's 18, RJD plus Congress. So 10% negative, and they can still hold a majority of the seats. Look at it the other way, of course. A 10% swing in their favor, and they've got nearly every seat, 37 out of 40 and 3 for the RJD. So it's amazing, this electoral arithmetic. Dora, but does ideology play a role, or is there just a summation? Is it pure arithmetic?
Well, we say in the book there is pure arithmetic, which is, in fact, have you noticed that Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah have rarely campaigned in Bihar? It's in UP, in Bengal, in Orissa, because they think the numbers are so much in their favor. And Nitish Kumar at one stage thought in 2014 that he was big enough to fight on his own. Having got his 16-17% and got virtually no seats, he's now realized the arithmetic that he finally has to fight with one of the big formations if he's to win this. So the RJD and the Congress have one formation, the BJP and the LJP is the second formation, and now Nitish has joined this formation. So everybody has learned except the Congress in UP, who haven't learned the arithmetic of elections.
So when we are talking about ideological differences between Nitish Kumar and the BJP, there's a bit of a nuance we'd like to explain. And that is Sushil Modi, the head of the BJP in Bihar, is not quite in line with his entire party. He's a little more moderate. Just listen to what he had to say about Vande Mataram when we asked him, should people be forced to stand when you play Vande Mataram? Listen to Sushil Modi.
आपके बिहार के लोकप्रिय उप मुख्यमंत्री सुशील कुमार मोदी जी आप शाहपुर वासियों को प्रणाम करने आए। मोदी जी आपको नमस्कार करने आए, आपसे आग्रह करने आए, आप अपने दुकानों से बाहर निकल कर।
You say Nitish is your natural ally,
Yes.
but he has totally different views from you, totally different ideology. How can you say natural?
No, in
Is it
governance-
just arithmetic?
No, in governance you don't require any ideology.
Acha.
What is the ideology in building roads, in providing electricity?
But in
So-
dividing the society
No, no.
along caste
So in
lines, along
Bihar-
religious lines.
ये
That
तो
is
आज
not good.
कांग्रेस के लोग करे, सिद्धू ने आकर
Both
बिहार
sides,
में।
I'm not saying.
No.
But he has
So-
different ideology. How is it natural ally?
नेचुरल इसलिए कि गवर्नेंस में he's a honest, he's a visionary, and he's a
He
hard
doesn't
working
stand
guy.
up in this Vande Mataram.
No, तो मैं भी नहीं खड़ा हुआ कई बार।
You don't
No,
believe.
कई बार नहीं।
Why?
नहीं, मैं बिलीव की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ। पार्लियामेंट
ये
में
belief की
No,
बात
no.
है।
पार्लियामेंट में वंदे मातरम होता है कि नहीं होता है?
Yeah.
पार्लियामेंट का कंक्लूडिंग सेशन का वंदे मातरम होता है तो व्हाट द MIM do at that time? What Nitish is doing at that time? आखिर
Up to you. But I'm saying, why don't you stand up?
कई बार हम लोग भी नहीं खड़े हो पाते हैं।
क्यों?
नहीं, not
Because you are a milder man.
not because of anything
You
else.
have no hatred in you.
Not because of anything else.
थोड़ा
What's
hatred
harm-
की बात है ना
What is
इस
harm in-
election में.
What's harm in raising वंदे मातरम?
No,
If
I'm just
somebody-
saying hatred in this election.
No. और अगर वो खड़े हुए कि is it an issue? This
But
is
do
a
you think it
non-issue.
should be thrust Do you
This
think
is
nobody
not an
needs-
issue.
nobody needs to stand up.
Only NDTV made it an issue.
No.
In Bihar, it is not an issue. Nobody knows also.
But sir, do you
Nobody
think it
knows
should be
also.
thrust upon anyone?
No, it
Do
is
you
not.
think?
No, nobody is thrusting anything. अगर वंदे
nobody should be
मातरम,
thrust.
no, वंदे मातरम पार्लियामेंट में होता है कि मुझे जवाब दे दीजिए आप. अगर पार्लियामेंट के कंक्लूडिंग सेशन में वंदे मातरम होता है तो चाहे वो मुस्लिम लीग हो, चाहे MIM हो या जनता दल हो, ईच एंड एवरीबडी स्टैंड एंड दे पे देयर रेस्पेक्ट टू वंदे मातरम. इसलिए वंदे मातरम को हाँ किसी को आप फोर्स नहीं कर सकते. आई एम नॉट इन फेवर ऑफ फोर्सिंग एनीबडी टू रेज
No
वंदे
threatening,
मातरम.
no saying if you don't, I will do something. That you're not. I know you're not.
I'm not in favor of that.
So that's Sushil Modi making it very clear. Do not force anybody to stand. Of course, he forces prohibition, but we'll come to that later. And the similarity between his stand and Nitish Kumar's stand on Vande Mataram is exemplified by this really amazing bit of footage. Just watch Nitish Kumar while Vande Mataram is being chanted around him by Mr. Modi. Everybody else is standing, but he is very reluctant to stand. So in terms of ideology, at least in terms of Vande Mataram, actually in many other areas, Nitish Kumar and Sushil Modi, the moderate BJP leader in Bihar, have a lot of similarities. But when it comes to caste, this is a hugely different election for both the sides. Just look at the caste breakup of each party or each alliance and what it looks like. Caste really matters in elections in Bihar. The BJP plus JDU have 65% of the Jatav vote. Of the Kurmi vote, they have about 70%. That's because Nitish Kumar is himself a Kurmi and looks after the Kurmis when he comes to power. As far as the Yadavs are concerned, the RJD plus Congress have 70% of the Yadav vote. As far as the Muslims are concerned, the RJD plus Congress have 75 or more % of the Muslim vote, and the others go to independents and major independent Muslim leaders. And finally, among the Brahmins, the BJP plus JDU, mainly the BJP of course, has 75% of the Brahmin vote, and in fact a very high percentage of the overall forward caste. And these are just indications of the forward, backward and OBC caste. So ideology is thrown to the wind in Bihar when these alliances happen.
Well, the ideology of Bihar ultimately is still caste. And Bihar, unlike UP, has a large chunk of votes. In fact, the largest chunk of votes for any vote group, which is unaffiliated to any party. So Yadavs and Muslims go with Lalu, upper castes go with BJP. But now that's a new vote bank in India.
Right.
Some backward castes go with JDU, with Nitish, but a lot of the others were available. They were in the open market and uncoupled. So in some ways, BJP has reached out to them and won them over. And for various reasons, because of the local intercaste power equations, these voters have not felt secure enough with Lalu. So Lalu Congress alliance is very strong in the castes and groups loyal to it, but it has negative appeal among too many groups in Bihar. And that is what is working for this alliance, because those people will vote for anybody but Lalu and Congress, or for Yadav, with Yadavs and Muslims. And there is no Mayawati here for the Dalit vote.
So this kind of caste division, obviously, we always try to make it clear, it's not 100%, because you see a lot of Yadavs will vote for the BJP, you will see about 20% of Brahmins will not vote for the BJP and JDU, but broadly 50, 60, 70% will stick to their old alliances.
Yes, clearly. That is why, like Lalu was somewhere aware of this fact, he knew these numbers. That is why for the first time Lalu Yadav has conceded as many 21 seats to 5 other allies, including 1 seat in Ara. He is extending his support to CPIML. Somewhere he knows, he understands this reality, unless he gets some kind of, additional votes from the non-Yadav backwards, or, from a major chunk of Dalits, or from some section of EBC, he cannot checkmate or he cannot take on these, coalition of extremes which Nitish and BJP has, they have, built up in Bihar.
So Dorab, the negotiating powers of the BJP and its understanding of electoral arithmetic is amazing. Have they been chatting with you before this? Because this is the most amazing negotiation with Nitish Kumar and the JDU. Last time on their own, the BJP here won 22 seats. This time in their alliance, they've agreed to contest only 17, not even all the seats they won last time. So even if they win all 17 this time, they'll be down 5 from last time, and there's no question of winning all 17. So they went in with a huge sacrifice. The opposite of the Congress, who always says, if we give too much, the Congress party will be destroyed. The BJP has always been much better at negotiations, right?
I think this is the ultimate sacrifice, that you give up the seats you won. When you are probably the strongest single party in the state, you give it to the third strongest party in the state to keep an alliance, because you know that the greater good is the largest number of seats. So instead of winning 25 seats, you probably win 35, 37 seats or 30 odd seats. You want to keep the seats in your family, in your Godi, not let them get out. I think that's what the Congress has not understood in UP. And in Bihar is too small to make a difference.
Right. Now, one thing we've been saying, all of us, that this is the most polarized election across the country we've ever seen amongst Hindus. Of course, Hindu-Muslim polarization is also being attempted, but even amongst Hindus, polarization in the sense that you either admire and really love Modi, or you dislike him and think he's not good for the country, in very strong terms. There's no middle ground like we've had in other elections where people say, okay, if he wins, doesn't win, doesn't matter. Here there's no middle ground. It's very, very strong. Of course, caste does divide that. And we'll give you 2 examples. Here is where caste, the Yadavs, are strongly retaining their traditional base, pro the RJD and anti-Modi. Just listen to the Yadavs, almost predictable.
आप लोग कौन सी जात के?
यादव।
मोदी जी के कितना आदमी वोट दीजिएगा? जो हाथ उठाइए। लालू यादव जिंदाबाद।
तेजस्वी के लिए कौन?
जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद।
करप्शन है, तेजस्वी उसको खत्म करेगा?
देखिए ये कौन बता सकता है?
दोनों एक ही है।
देखिए ये कौन बता सकता है? मरे देखिए क्या आपको शासन हम देख चुके हैं। अब जो तेजस्वी की बात कर रहे हैं वो नौजवान है, नौजवान हो सकता है कुछ मने उनको पिताजी गलती कर दिए होंगे, ये बात हम मानने के लिए तैयार हैं, मगर हो सकते हैं ये नौजवान है थोड़ा काम करें।
2 बच्चे जन्माए थे, एक डकैत हो गया, एक हो गया इंजीनियर, तो कौन जानता है कौची करेगा ना करेगा। तेजस्वी यादव अभी जवान का जवानी है, कुछ भी कर सकता है, करने के लिए तो है ये। हम लोग उसी को समर्थन है, चाहे जे होने का रहेगा।
शराब बंद किया है, उससे फायदा हुआ?
उससे फायदा नहीं हुआ, उससे नुकसान हुआ, उससे नुकसान हुआ, समझे?
प्रशासन है ना, प्रशासन सब पूरा धनवान हो रहा है, जितना भी है, जितना भी बड़ा बड़ा पोस्ट पर अधिकारी वो सब के लिए हम लोग जैसे वैसे ही हैं।
हम दारू पी लिए, हमको पकड़ के ले गए, हाथ कड़ी करा के, हमको बाल बच्चा 2 कठाई यारा करके हमको छोड़ा के लाया, वो नुकसान हो रहा है। जो नहीं दारू बेचता था वो बेच के राजा हो गया, जो बेचता था जो
रोजगार बढ़ गया, ज्यादा जो बढ़िया अच्छी चीज है वो रोजगार कर रहा है। जहाँ तक नीतीश जी कहीं कास्ट कर रहा है ये बिजनेस होम डिलीवरी, अभी कहिए
दारू होम खोल कीजिए, आ करके दम खोल कीजिए, शराब होम डिलीवरी हो गया, घर पहुँच जाएगा, खुलेआम चल रहा है, बस होम डिलीवरी।
So there the Yadavs predictably pro-RJD and anti-Modi and anti-BJP. But as we say, when caste alliances are not 100%, and we met this farmer, Bhumiyar, who normally would put forward caste, you'd say would be pro-BJP, but he turned out to be strongly against the current government. And I tell you, I feel he's one of the most articulate voices of farmer distress I've heard in this entire election. Just listen to this Bhumihar. And remember, that's traditionally pro-BJP, a pro-BJP voter. Listen to him. थोड़ा आगे कौन चल रहा?
RJD चल रहा है।
आरजेडी चल रहा है आगे। हाँ जी, महागठबंधन। अच्छा अच्छा, क्यों कारण क्यों?
भूल किए हम लोग कमल के फूल के वोट देके, बहुत बड़ा हम लोग के जान मार दिया।
कब किया? पिछले बार?
हाँ, तो पिछले बार तो उसके चलते जान दे दिए थे, लेकिन हम लोग के कहा कि गरीब के रही नहीं देना, हम बड़के के रखेंगे खाली। कहा कि या कर देंगे या कर देंगे। नहर बनाया तो उन्हीं बना के छोड़ दिया है, अब बनाया तो जहिया सब पानियों नहीं आता, कुले खेत पर रीत रहता है। सोच लीजिए यहाँ से 3 किलोमीटर ही बोरिंग से पानी ले जाता है, हुआ 3 किलोमीटर।
ये पुलवामा और बालाकोट,
उस सबसे क्या मतलब है? ऐसे भी काम को देशवा के लेके भाग जाता हूँ, झूठ मूठ ड्रामा करता है। ऐसे किसी को अब ताकत नहीं है कि हिंदुस्तान के लेके भाग जाएगा। वो हिंदुस्तान अब नहीं रहा, क्या कि कोई गुलाम करके चल जाएगा। ये सब ड्रामाबाजी है खाली। देखिए सर, हम लोग जितना शौक से वोट दिए ना, उतना उससे नफरत हो गया। ऐसा काम किया हम लोग, जान दे दिए थे उसके चलते, मोदी के चलते कि मोदी को लाना है, और लाए थे उसको। इसी के चलते अगला बार वोट भी सब दिए थे कि नहीं मोदी कुछ करेगा, लेकिन क्या किया? एक काम भी तो नहीं किया हम लोग के लिए। सब लोग बेरोजगार अब बढ़ गया, महंगाई बढ़ा दिया, तेल के दाम डेली 1 रुपया बढ़ता है। ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ हम लोग के याद में। हम लोग को गाड़ी चलता है, नेपाल में तेल देता है 45 रुपये, यहाँ देता है 70 रुपये। इंडिया से तेल नेपाल जाता है। 12,000 करोड़ रुपया अनिल अंबानी को माफ कर दिया। वो पैसा किसको देना? हम लोग को देना है ना, टैक्स तो हम लोग को ना देना है। हाल में ना माफ किया, आखिर उसको तुमने क्यों माफ कर दिया? बड़ा बड़ा आदमी का गरीब को जान मारना। बोला अच्छा दिन आने वाला है, अच्छा दिन क्या लाएगा?
बोला कि मैं काला धन वापस लाऊंगा, कहाँ काला धन छिपा कर रख लिया?
800 रुपया में खाता खुलवाए जनधन वाला, तकाता बैंक में गए, तकाता वो पैसा कट गया, 1000 रहता तब होता, तो वो 800 वाला जे खोला है सब लेके मोदी चल गया। तो कहला तो बोल विदेश घूमेला। बुरी हालत है, पानी की इतना दिक्कत, इतना प्रॉब्लम है ना, 300 फीट तक पानी नहीं है। यहाँ से 3 किलोमीटर आगे तक हम लोग का जमीन है। सोचिए हम लोग जो भी हैं जो जमीने पर है, ये 5 साल बना था, टोटल बेरोजगार कर दिया। जो खाद आता था 50 किलो उसको कर दिया 45 किलो, रेट भी बढ़ा दिया। अब बोलता सब्सिडी देंगे, अरे हमारा ही पैसा हमको तुम 3 महीना के बाद देगा। ये कौन सा संविधान में लिखा हुआ?
और हमको जरूरी नहीं कि छापा नहीं आता है, ये पैसा कोई आता है, कोई
जो गैस सिलेंडर मिलता था हम लोग के 300 में, आज 900 में तुम दे रहा, बोलता है सब्सिडी दे रहे, हमारा ही पैसा काट के हमको ही तू सब्सिडी देता। इतना माने कि तुम चालाक हो गया, विदेश घूमते घूमते बहुत तुमको दिमाग हो गया खोपड़िया, जनता को एकदम मूर्ख बना दिया। तुमको इसीलिए राजा बनाए थे, और राजा से कोई सवाल पूछता है तो कहता आतंकवादी है।
So the agricultural distress has even hit the Bhumiyars, who we expect would be pro-BJP, as I said. Now, that's the kind of polarization, negative feeling towards this government. But what about positive? There's a huge positive towards Modi across large numbers of people across the state. We asked some just a few kilometers from where this Bhumiyar farmer was, and listen to how strongly they were in favor or are in favor of Modi. तो लोग क्या कह रहे हैं आपके गांव में, कौन आगे चल रहा है?
मोदी सरकार।
मोदी सरकार। थोड़ा आगे अभी कौन है?
अब थोड़ा आगे तो मोदी लहर चल रहा है।
मोदी लहर,
लेकिन कांटे का टक्कर है दोनों में से, जो मतलब कि होगा कुछ ही का डिफरेंस है, ज़्यादा का।
हम लोग तो बस बीजेपी का सरकार है, बीजेपी को वोट देंगे।
बीजेपी
अभी
अच्छा,
हम लोग बीजेपी शुरू से हैं, आज भी हैं, कल भी रहेंगे। चाहे सरकार किसी का बने।
नीतीश नहीं, बीजेपी, नीतीश कुमार ने
बीजेपी चाहिए।
बीजेपी, तो आप कह रहे हैं बीजेपी है तो पूरा बीजेपी, आप भी कह रहे हैं बीजेपी? थोड़ा आगे
जी, हम लोग बीजेपी के साथ हैं।
जहाँ से
जी,
तो बीजेपी क्यों, कारण क्या है?
कारण है कि मोदी जी हमारे लिए कुछ अच्छा सोच रहा है, कुछ अच्छा कर रहा है, इसलिए हम लोग मोदी जी को ज़्यादा सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। बात यही है।
भैया हम पत्रकार हैं, दिल्ली से आए, हम सबसे पूछ रहे हैं पूरा बिहार में आगे कौन चल रहा है, कौन सा पार्टी आगे चल रहा है?
यहाँ भाजपा।
हाँ जी, भाजपा आगे चल रहा।
नरेंद्र मोदी हम लोग देश के लिए अच्छा कार्य कर रहे हैं, इसलिए उनको वोट दे रहे हैं।
अच्छा, मोदी को अच्छा लगता है?
हाँ जी, मोदी को अच्छा लगता है। प्लस हम लोग जनरल के लिए 10% आरक्षण दिए हम लोग करेंगे।
और क्या किया मोदी ने?
बहुत कुछ, इतना सारा
पाकिस्तान के घर में घुस के मारा ना जी, बहुत सीधा चौड़ा हो गया।
सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक देख रहे, बहुत सारा चीज़, इतना सारा चीज़ किया है कि
बता नहीं सकता। वो जॉब मतलब कि जॉब में आरक्षण मतलब कि जॉब 5 साल में नहीं मिला है, वो बात अलग है। बीजेपी को दे रहा है, मोदी को दे रहा है, दोनों को मतलब कि
तो मोदी को वोट देंगे।
हाँ, बीजेपी तो
मोदी बीजेपी से अलग है,
सीधी बात है।
मोदी जी बीजेपी से अलग है, बीजेपी के साथ ही नहीं।
मोदी जी की लहर है। मोदी जी यहाँ तो शत्रुघ्न सिन्हा जी से तो कभी जनता पहचानता भी नहीं था। न कोई यहाँ पर जो भी दुकानदार यहाँ घूम रहे हैं बाजार कोई भी नहीं कोई जाना, 1-2 लोगों को चिंता होगा। और ये तो कार्यकर्ता के रूप में जो आए हैं रविशंकर जी, और ये बहुत वोट से जीते।
So vast number of pro-Nitish and pro-Modi voices. In fact, a lot of people say Nitish has done a lot of work. Even the Yadavs say that Nitish has done work, but why they won't vote for him. But Shekhar, one of the issues is on the ground people live quite, they live together quite in a relaxed manner, but they vote for politicians partly because politicians, they look after their own caste. Like the Yadavs will look after the Yadavs, RJD will look after RJDs. They create these divisions, not just, it's festered by politicians.
Well, I don't think that's quite fair to say that, because how did these caste politicians come up?
Right.
How did they build caste vote banks? They were not born with these vote banks. Right. They got these because these castes either did not live peacefully together, or one set meekly accepted the other's domination. So these leaders rose to lead them. Now that those loyalties are built, the leaders take them for granted. So this cycle is turning in a certain way now. And you can see the national parties are making peace with it. Congress has made peace with it. Congress, in fact, has no Yadav leaders. They have not built any Yadav leaders for a long time. And similarly, BJP is letting these other partners build their own strength to the extent that they are contesting even fewer seats than they had won the last time. So this is, I think the bigger parties are embracing the local caste leaders, and local caste leaders, because they got justice, or they were seen to get justice, or in the case of Muslims, just security for their voters, they built these loyalties.
So this way, as Shekhar says, is getting reinforced. You vote in a Yadav, he'll look after the Yadavs. You're a Yadav, best to vote him, he'll look after me. You're a Brahmin, best to vote in the BJP, he'll look after me. So, okay, there may be divisions in society, but politicians are intensifying those divisions by looking after certain categories rather than everybody.
I'll give you 2 examples that this election, because Nitish Kumar gets the overwhelming support from the extreme backward caste in so many seats, he has, like doing the experiment, like in Jahanabad, where there is to be a traditional contest between either Yadav versus Bhumihar. Instead of Bhumihar, he has, put up for the first time a candidate from the extreme backward caste community. When it comes to administration also, they go to any extent to protect all those who are supporting them. Like in Patna, you will always, if you see Nitish Kumar's last 13 years, most of the district magistrates, they were either from Kurmi, or in the time of Lalu, it was one of the main friction point, because Lalu always wanted some, Yadav or other, which Nitish Kumar was never comfortable with.
Manish, if I may ask you, Pandit of Bihar politics, how do you describe EBCs, extremely backward castes in Bihar? Who are they? Which castes are these?
They are like, they were for the first time they were carved out, they were given this extreme backward caste, or, you in UP you say most backward caste. They are basically non-Yadav, non-Kurmi, non-Kuswaha, and they are now very dominating in the Bihar's politics. Wherever they go, they are like the real kingmakers, and they have their,
but more backward than Yadavs.
More backwards economically, educationally, academically, they are more backwards. But now they are calling the shots in almost over a half a dozen constituencies, in parliamentary constituencies in Bihar.
Right. Dorab, I'm just wondering, which politician looks after Parsis as a vote bank?
Bengalis. Mamta Di.
No, I feel very sorry for you. 150 of you anyway.
I think Parsis can look after themselves.
They don't need no politician. No, but this reinforcing that a politician of a particular caste only gives favors to his or her own caste, is intensifying any divisions which may or may not have existed in the society.
Absolutely, and also, when you see it's mainly the civil services, the police, they say that, when Mayawati's power in UP, the Jatavs got the jobs in the police stations and the lower civil service. When Akhilesh came, it's the Yadavs. So that intensifies. You feel that if your party doesn't get into power, the positions of power lower down that affect you are going to be manned by people who probably are hostile to you. This intensifies caste loyalty and also intensifies caste division across castes.
Okay, moving on from caste to one of the most fascinating and heartwarming aspects of this entire election in Bihar, and in fact of the entire country, but Bihar leads the way. That is the rising participation of women voters. First look at all India. This is how women's participation has changed over time. Women's voter turnout is now in this election for the first time as high as men, and give this final round, they'll probably overtake men in turnout this time. Look at this. In 1962, men turnout was 62% and women's turnout was 47%. 15% behind men. Women hardly turned out, hardly participated. Over the years, in 2019, both are at 67%. Women have equal men in turnout and voter participation. But it's even more fascinating in Bihar. Just look at these figures for the Bihar elections this time. Bihar women voters are absolutely crucial. Again, look back at 1962. This is when the Election Commission started telling you the turnout of men and women separately. Men's turnout in Bihar in 1962 was 55%. Women's turnout was only 33%. That was 22% behind men. And now look at it grow over time. In this election, women's turnout is 63% and men's turnout is 56%. So women's turnout this time is 7% higher than men in Bihar. Now that is a serious factor for all politicians to take into account. And what's more, women are voting independently. They're not asking their husband, who should I vote for? Just tell me, I can't make up my mind. They're voting independently. Just listen to some of these women we asked. औरत है वो अपने आप जिसको वोट देने अपने आप डिसाइड करते हैं कि जो हस्बैंड बताते हैं वो करते हैं? नहीं, हम लोग अपने आप डिसाइड करते हैं किसको देना है। अपने आप डिसाइड करते हैं। हस्बैंड को पता है कि अब उनके बात नहीं सुनते? बात सुनने की बात नहीं, हम लोग का भी तो कुछ है। हम लोग भी अपना मर्जी से तो कर चल सकते हैं ना, थोड़ी ना हस्बैंड के बीच में।
एक चीज जानना था कि आप लोग जो वोट देने जाते हैं तो जो मर्द कहते हैं उस पे देते हैं वोट, कि अपने से मन जिसको आता है उसको देते हैं?
जिसको मन आता है जिसको देते हैं। कि
जो पति कहेंगे उसको नहीं दीजिएगा?
हाँ देंगे, हमको जब मन में आएगा तब देंगे ना।
जो अपने मन में आएगा वो करेंगे।
हाँ।
पति को नहीं सुनते? नहीं, वो आपको सुनते हैं?
वो भी अपना जिसको मन जिसको देंगे।
आप बताइए।
हमारे देने की
हाँ बताइए।
जैसे वोट एगो यह है कि दिया जाए केकरा जो आदमी जीते लायक है, जो आदमी मने अपना विकास दिखावा है, वो आदमी के वोट दिया।
So there they are, these women fiercely independent in Bihar. They really are an amazingly proactive and independent and real serious force to fight and to take into account in any election. Women voters in Bihar. Overall though, if you look at the Lok Sabha, it's rather sad. There's great underrepresentation of women in the Lok Sabha. Women voters are about 49% of this country. Women MPs, 10%. That is a scandal. It's really, really shocking to have only 10% of the MPs in the Lok Sabha to be women. It's time something was done about that. And that's not because they're not successful. If you look at the strike rate, the winning strike rate of women, they're more successful than men. The percentage of winning men candidates is 7%. The percentage of winning women candidates is 10%. That's almost 50% higher than men. But still, parties do not appoint, do not have candidates who are women.
That could also be a function of the kind of seats women are given to contest. Very often, these will be legacy seats.
Spoken like a true man.
Family seats. Well, I mean, you have to look at facts.
Oh, I see. That's, you know what, all these not politicians.
Spoken like a truthful man.
Truthful man, for once. Sorry, all as usual. As usual. So it's not just, that is the point. Maybe they get better seats, maybe not. We have to study that a little further. Family seats, yeah. Maybe they're also better than men. And with so many women candidates...
Not maybe, they are better than men. And I think if you fielded more women candidates, they might still show you that more of them can win. But the unfortunate thing is that in many cases, parties only give seats to women because they are legatees of a family.
Right, which is a shocking reason. It's such a male-dominated setup that every party does not really have women candidates.
And more women are coming out to vote now.
And more women are coming out to vote. So it's just completely contradictory. Something has to change there. Something has to snap. In the underrepresentation of women, parties really have very few women candidates. Look at this. The percentage men candidates is 93%. This is across all parties. Percentage women candidates, just 7%. With that kind of a record, how can women in parliament be above 10%? So parties appoint only 7% of candidates women, but they get 10% share in parliament. So they do better. We saw the strike rate was better. So this shockingly low level of appointment of women candidates is just not a reflection of women in Indian society. Just listen to these young women in a college and see the amount of talent and political awareness that women in Bihar have.
जैसा कि हम लोग युवा हैं तो युवाओं की सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम होती है जॉब, रोजगार। तो नरेंद्र मोदी हमारे प्रधानमंत्री बहुत अच्छा वर्क किए हैं, लेकिन उन्होंने कभी रोजगार पे बात ही नहीं किया है। तो रोजगार पे बात करना चाहिए, उन्हें युवाओं को मौका देना चाहिए, वैकेंसी निकालनी चाहिए। पहले के मुकाबले में बहुत वैकेंसी कम हो गई है, तो इस वैकेंसी को निकालना चाहिए।
लास्ट ईयर जो स्कैम्स हुए एसएससी में, उसके कारण पिछले ईयर कोई भी वैकेंसी नहीं आई, और जो आई भी है उसके एग्जामिनेशन अभी तक नहीं हुए हैं। तो अगर हम लोग का एज बढ़ जाता है तो फिर उसके रिगार्डिंग तो कुछ हम लोग को प्रेफरेंस मिलेगा नहीं। तो इसके लिए हो कि समय से एग्जामिनेशन हो, उसके रिजल्ट सही समय पे निकले और जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटी बढ़नी चाहिए।
इसके अलावा ठीक है, प्रधानमंत्री विदेश दौरा करते हैं, ठीक है, जो कि हमारे देश के विकास के लिए ज़रूरी है। महिलाओं की भी बात करते हैं कि हाँ, हमने महिला सुरक्षा यहाँ तक पहुँचा दी, महिलाएं सुरक्षित हैं, लेकिन कितनी महिलाएं सुरक्षित हैं इस देश में सब जानते हैं। निर्भया के बाद दिन प्रतिदिन जो ये दशा और दुर्दशा महिलाओं की है और बिगड़ती जा रही है। 3 तलाक की वो बात करते हैं, वो भी सही है, 3 तलाक की बात हुए, मस्जिद में प्रवेश करवा दिए, तो क्या इससे महिला जो है सशक्त बनी, महिला सुरक्षित हुई? नहीं, बल्कि और स्थिति महिलाओं की खराब होती जा रही है। पुलवामा में जो हुआ वो तो खैर हमारे देश के लिए बहुत ही दर्दनाक था। उसको तो कोई अगर इंडियन से वो कोई इसको भूल नहीं सकता है, लेकिन उसके अगेंस्ट में जो स्टेप लिया गया तो वो तो हैट्स ऑफ। लेकिन मैं इसका क्रेडिट उनको ना देके हमारे अपने आर्मी को देना चाहूँगी, उन्होंने वो किया। और ठीक है, इनके अंडर में हुआ ये सब, इनके सुपरविजन में हुआ, लेकिन जो स्टेप हुआ उसके अगेंस्ट, तो जब भी अगर पाकिस्तान अगर आगे भी एक इस टाइप का मतलब घिनौना हरकत करता है तो एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं हम कि आगे इसी तरीके से सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक्स करते हैं।
उतनी बड़ी सेना जो जा रही थी तो उसके लिए प्रॉपर सिक्योरिटी क्यों नहीं थी? जब पूरी तरह से वहाँ पर सेफ्टी नहीं देखी गई तब उतनी बड़ी सेना गई, तभी ये घटना हुई है। तो इसके लिए पहले नैतिक जिम्मेदारी लेते हुए वहाँ पे पहले सिचुएशन को ठीक करना चाहिए था, उसके बाद वो ये करना चाहिए था, ले जाना चाहिए था।
अभी तो ये हाल है कि सोशल मीडिया पे ये सारे डिसीजंस हो रहे हैं। हम जानते हैं कि सोशल मीडिया पे जितने भी न्यूज़ आते हैं वो किसी ना किसी के IT सेल, पॉलिटिसाइज्ड IT सेल।
So Dorab, what's the reason, do you feel, that parties nominate so few women candidates?
I think it's just pure male domination of the political process. It's not only in India, except for the Scandinavian countries. Look at parliaments around the world. Look at the US, which is a 225-year-old democracy. For the first time, there are more than 100 women in a 438-member chamber. So, I think it's, except when you have reservations, the representation of women is still low. Look at Germany. The chancellor is a woman, but the representation of women is quite low. Look at France. Look at the developed countries. I think this is a tradition that, except for a few Scandinavian countries, the only countries that have been able to break by law, by reserving a certain number of seats. That's the first step in increasing the proportion of women in parliament. Look at America. The population of women voters is more than that of men. They vote in larger numbers. The turnout is higher. Yet, probably 5, 10, 15 senators and 100 congresswomen.
Right.
It's a universal phenomenon, and we are at the bottom end of it.
Right. But Shekhar, something has to snap here. Women turnout rising in Bihar, 7% above men. Women so active, you've heard all of them. They're so involved in politics, in the society. And yet a male-dominated society appointing only 7% candidates. Something has to snap,
Yes,
right?
absolutely, because this is unsustainable. Because in the past, only women who rose like Mrs. Gandhi were women from political families. But now you have self-made women who've risen, Jayalalitha, Mayawati, Mamata Banerjee. So there are now role models, and it should be possible for more women to rise. But really, the parties, particularly, in fact, all parties, but I'd say particularly the caste-dominated parties, are very male-dominated. Even a party like Mayawati's, it doesn't reach out to women at all, especially. So I do not believe that the 33% reservation is the answer, because that will create, in my view, a zanana in the parliament. So women should come and contest against other men.
And it should be voluntary, like Mamata Banerjee and Patnaik in Orissa.
Yeah, and not necessarily against...
Both over 33% women.
Not necessarily by contesting only against women.
Right.
That's what I mean by creating a zanana, because otherwise, if you don't have any other option, that might be the way to go. But really, before that, the parties have to wake up, because the parties are missing out on talent. Look at our newsrooms. It's
70% women.
A new hire is more than 70% women. In fact, now you are looking for men. So if there is so much talent there, I know journalism doesn't require quite as much talent as politics, but still I think our politicians and political leaders are not just missing out on this talent, but they are also missing out on a trick, because this is a very good selling point in modern politics, because India's literacy levels have really risen. When you walk around the countryside now, you rarely find anybody under the age of 40 who's illiterate.
See, one of the most wonderful things with Nitish Kumar did, right, way back in his first term, was give cycles to women students, young women students. They got free cycles, or they got the money to buy a free cycle. And you see them cycling around, going to college, going to school. It's a beautiful sight. But that was smart, because women tend to support him as a result.
But Dr. Roy, he also gave 50% reservation to women in the local
panchayats,
panchayats also. But he was never serious about it, because he never took it to the next level. That was empowering them, training them, because if you go to the local panchayat meetings, it's still they come with their husband, and their husbands are ruling by proxy. I will give you one example. There is a seat called Siwan, which used to be represented by Muhammad Sahabuddin. So RJD is fielding for the last 3 consecutive elections his wife Hina Sahab. This time, to take on Hina Sahab, whom Nitish got, he got one legislator from his party called Kavita Singh. But Kavita Singh, name to fame is not that she is a very grounded legislator, but because she is a wife of another gangster called Ajay Singh.
That's the point that Shekhar was making earlier, actually. But it's not as though all women turn out to vote. We met one or two. Just take this one for example. She's not going to vote, but let me tell you, she's not going to vote with passion. Just listen to her. आगे कौन चल रहा है इस इलेक्शन में?
वोट दीजिएगा, ये बताइए। हम भूखले मरते तक कोई देखने वाला नहीं है, हम वोट नहीं देते। चल। पढ़े ना करते बउआ। चल वोट को चीज़ में चल। बोर्डवा तो देवे ना करबे, बोर्डवा छोड़ भाई, अपन बोर्ड है।
इतना गुस्सा का कारण क्या है?
ना कोई एगो रोटी देवे वाला ना है, एक गिलास पानी देवे वाला ना है, चल।
बताइए। अरे ये बताइए, इतना गुस्सा का कारण क्या है?
हमको कोई खाने वाला नहीं देने वाला है, अपना कमाना अपना खाना है।
क्या करती हैं
आप फल बेचते हैं रोड पर बैठ के, उसी में कहता भागो, इधर भागो, उधर भागो, उधर चल जाते हैं।
कोई सरकार तो
उधर से कोई परेशानी नहीं।
मोदी जी की सरकार में तो आपको
हम
मिला
कोई के सरकार नहीं मानते, अपना सरकार है, ये अपना सरकार है।
So even women who are not going to vote are very passionate about why they're not going to vote. One of the big things that apparently, at least that's what politicians tell us, one of the big policies that were focused on women was the imposition of prohibition in all of Bihar. Prohibition like you've never seen before, that you cannot get around by any method or be arrested. Was that true? Everybody we met said prohibition is just not working. Policemen are making pots of money, but we'll come to that. We asked, prohibition never worked anywhere in the world. So we asked Sushil Modi, are you really serious about prohibition? Listen to what he said. How many decades will you have prohibition carrying on?
Till I am alive and Nitish Kumar is alive, there will be prohibition. And those who don't want to give vote, we don't care vote for those people who are against prohibition. And if anybody dare to remove prohibition in Bihar, he'll be wiped out from politics of Bihar.
That's what the rest of the world has said, and the prohibition has been banned.
Of the world, but I know Bihar because the Bihari society, because it is not like Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, or the southern states. Bihar was never a state in which drinking and other things were common. It was not there in Bihar. And still, if anybody coming and taking liquor in family, it was never entertained in Bihar, apart from some elite and some other.
Like you said, don't force a person to stand up. Why do you force him not to drink? Let him decide in this individually.
No, because
these are adults.
No, देखिए मैं तो इस मत का भी हूँ कि स्मोकिंग पर भी बैन लगना चाहिए। लेकिन मैं इस व्यक्तिगत भले मैं इन्फोर्स कर पाऊँ कि न कर पाऊँ, स्मोकिंग पर भी बैन होना चाहिए। It is injurious to health, and so it was affecting more to the poor people, not the elite and the big people, because they know how much to drink and how much not to drink. But it was the poor people. They were consuming liquor like anything. They were domestic violence. They were beating their wives, their children, and wasting their money on liquor.
So that was Sushil Modi, ready to have prohibition, impose it till he and Nitish Kumar dies, and maybe even ban cigarettes. So we spoke to a lot of male voters, and they said it's not working, it's useless, we still get a drink, but it's unreliable, it's poison, it's high cost, etc. So we said, but what about the women? It was targeted to women. Listen to what women voters had to say about prohibition.
शराबबंदी जो हुआ है ये अच्छा हुआ खराब हुआ कि
शराबबंदी हुए कहाँ, शराब तो बिकिए रहा है। पहले सस्ता मिलता था, महंगा मिलता है, लेकिन मिलता है, पीता तो हर रोज आदमी पीबे करता है। बंद कहाँ हुआ है?
नहीं, ये बोल रहे हैं कि महिला लोग बहुत खुश हैं शराबबंदी होने से। क्या
बहुत दिक्कत है, बंद कर दीजिए। अच्छा है,
शराबबंदी से फायदा हुआ है कि नुकसान हुआ?
बंद होवे नहीं किया तो घाटा फायदा पता चलेगा कैसे?
तो आप लोग का पैसा नहीं बच रहा है?
नहीं बच रहा है, पिए वाला तो पीबे नहीं बच रहा है पैसा, घर में पैसा देबे नहीं करते हैं।
नहीं, लेकिन सरकार तो कहता है कि पैसा बच रहा है, लोग कपड़ा खरीद रहे हैं।
नहीं बच रहा है, पैसा कहाँ बच रहा है? बिक्री करता है, चोरी से बिक्री करता है,
जाएगा तो पैसा कहाँ से बचेगा? जितना कमाएगा उतना पी जाएगा तो पैसा कहाँ से बचेगा?
यहाँ तो लेडीज होम डिलीवरी करता है, जेंट्स क्या करेगा? अब तो लेडीज होम डिलीवरी से बेच रहा है और मिल रहा है। पहले है कि 10 रुपया में मिलता था, 50 रुपया में मिल रहा है, लेकिन मिलिए रहा है दारू। बंद कहाँ हुआ है? पहले चोरी छुपे, पहले खुलेआम बिकता था, अब चोरी छुपे बिक रहा है।
मान के चलिए कि
दारू सफाई बंद होना चाहिए, लेकिन दारू सफाई नहीं बंद हो रहा है। घूस लेके और सिपाही लोग उतरवा रहा है दारू को।
बिना सिपाही के थोड़ी उतरता है, बिना सिपाही के दारू थोड़ी उतरता है।
अब तो घूस ले लेके दारू का एकदम सफाई क्लियर करवा रहा है। क्या बेचो यहाँ, और ज्यादातर एकदम जहाँ 4 पैसा कमाना चाहिए वहाँ 10 पैसा का पिए जा रहा है। तो बचेगा क्या? बाल बच्चा तो भूखे मरबे करेगा। नीतीश कुमार क्या बोल रहे हैं कि बच रहा है, गरीब आदमी ऊपर हो रहा है, ऊपर नहीं धंस रहा है गरीब आदमी।
So there you are, not all women are in favor because they see the amount of corruption and the mafia that's been created by prohibition. Dorab, and it's not worked anywhere in the world.
It's not really worked anywhere in the world, but the fact is that it works badly, but enough probably for the women to think that he's doing it for us. So even if it doesn't work wholesale, you know, it gives women the feeling that, look, men are probably spending less money on the booze, they're getting worse booze and spending less money on it. But, you know, in a way it makes the women feel good that the husbands aren't drinking away all the money. I was just wondering how you're managing in Bihar.
No, actually I wanted to ask you, Dorab, you didn't come to Bihar because it's got prohibition.
That's right, but how come you went? There's the question.
I have Nimbu
You got a
Pani.
special permit like in Gujarat?
Right. So, prohibition, it's just an archaic idea. But is it working at all? What do you feel?
Well, it's the biggest sham anybody can pull off on an electorate. Gujarat is supposed to have prohibition forever. You know how it works. There was a time when Bombay had prohibition. We know how that worked. Prohibition simply does not work. It just sends that market underground. It creates a new underworld, and a lot of people make a lot of money. In fact, criminal vested interests then develop in keeping prohibition going, because there is a prohibition economics. In fact, you are
too young.
No, you are not a Hindi wala. But there was a famous Hindi film song from the 70s. जब से सरकार ने नशाबंदी तोड़ दी, मानो या ना मानो हमने पीनी छोड़ दी. Ever since they stopped prohibition, I stopped drinking because it's not so much fun anymore.
That's
right?
lovely.
So people always find a way of getting around a ban. In fact, when there is a ban, people will reach out to you and saying, do you need anything? And that has happened.
Any kind of ban.
It's happened in every
You've always
country,
said that.
every state. Haryana tried it. Bansilal tried it. And see what happened to Haryana. They had to withdraw it. Bihar will also have to withdraw it in the course of time. Maybe not because they're losing
Bengal
revenue.
is making a lot of revenue. So
Bengal is making,
Jharkhand.
Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, all the neighboring states are making a lot of money. It works beautifully for neighboring states. UP.
And we heard so many tales of how it is failing. In fact, we met this little group of, well, toddy tappers, the equivalent of, who have now been made legal. And we said, but is there any nasha in this? He said, thoda sa, jada nahi hai, make sure that doesn't get clamped down. But he's lifted on that. What's it called? Tadi or something? Tadi, yes.
Because he lifted, because he was somewhere, he had this political feedback that he is losing the support among the Mahadalits. That is why, under pressure, he was, forced to lift that. But besides that, Pranoy, that Nitish Kumar, when he came, in the first year of his governance, he earned this name of Susasan Babu. That Susasan Babu is completely losing all his credibility. What we can say in Hindi is that Iqbal, Sarkar ka Iqbal. Because, the man who is really, taking advantage or really, exposing the whole Nitish's claim is the policeman, the cops. Right. Because it's a business without any investment, and they are making
minting money. Right?
They are minting money.
That's
and
what everybody said.
Like on the ground you go, there is a clear-cut connivance between the criminals and the cops.
Well, was it a cop raided and they found 3.5 crores in his cupboard?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Like the lot of cops, they have not touched their salary account for last so many months. Yeah, because they make so much of money.
Right.
And state is losing almost like 9,000 crores every year. But Nitish Kumar somewhere
in a low revenue state. But this is not Delhi. Tiny state of Delhi has 50,000 crore revenues. This is a state of 10.5 crores with very little revenue.
But Nitish Kumar will not go back because somewhere he has this alliance with BJP, Ramvilas Paswan. So electorally, you can say that he is very comfortable. So he doesn't need to revisit his, this failed policy. Although that I was originally very enthusiastic about this, and I thought that it is really going to be a game changer, but that is not the case now.
But if we are all looking a little fresher than normal, we've only had Scottish Nimbu Panis for the last 2 nights. Sorry, normal Bihari Nimbu Panis.
Yes,
absolutely. So fresh.
Ganga Jal. Right here.
So let's move on from women, prohibition into one other aspect is the Muslim vote. Again, that's a target. People in Bihar live very at ease, happily with Muslims as neighbors, no problem at all. But it is a vote bank which is again being used by politicians to divide the electorate and to win votes. Now, what about Muslims across the country? There's a bit of a fallacy actually. Muslims are terribly underrepresented in India's parliament. Look at the percentage of Muslim voters in India. It's about 14, a little over 14% Muslim voters. And Muslim MPs, just 5%. So if women think they're unrepresented, actually Muslim voters are hugely underrepresented. Only 1/3 the percentage is in parliament. Dorab, why is that?
Because I think parties don't often nominate Muslim candidates, and that where they do nominate them, there are several Muslim candidates from different parties, which leads to consolidation of the anti-Muslim vote. You know, you find that where states like Kerala, where there is a pocket only of Muslims, say, or in Assam, Muslim, or in J&K, Muslims are moderately well represented. But states like Bihar, UP, but there are huge numbers, but they are sort of scattered with very few constituencies where they form more than 40% of the population. In fact, the vast majority of Muslim MPs ever to have been elected have come from constituencies where the proportion of Muslims is more than 40%. Otherwise, if they're 20-25%, they just don't have a chance at all. Parties don't nominate them, and when they nominate them, they don't win.
Tell us about this election in Bihar. It's not been terribly communal, has it? Or has there been pockets of, or certain people who've been very communal?
No, I think certain pockets, efforts were, taken to make it communal. But by and large, this election is all about caste.
Not religion.
Not religion. Not religion.
And Shekhar, that means Nitish Kumar is not communal at all.
He's not, and he's able to moderate the BJP here in partnership with him. So that's the big difference, because remember last assembly election, it was not like that. Last assembly election, Amit Shah was saying that if we lose, there will be crackers in Pakistan and people will celebrate. That is not happening this time. So to keep your partnerships together, you have to do something like this. But remember the point you made earlier about there not being enough Muslims in Indian parliament. India has a very strange, peculiar and fascinating phenomenon. Since the departure of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Indian Muslims have never trusted a Muslim as their leader. Barring small groups, say in Hyderabad, Owaisi, or in Assam, Ajmal, Indian Muslims have always trusted some Hindu or some Hindus as their leaders. Now, I don't have enough scholarship on it, but this is something that really needs to be. So Mulayam Singh, Lalu, Congress party leaders, the Gandhi family, Mamata Banerjee, the left, these are all Hindu leaders.
Right. But one of the factors about Muslim and Muslim representation is our first past the post system. If your voters are spread all over the country, you don't get much bang for the buck. You don't get many MPs. Muslim votes are spread out. If they were concentrated like a regional party, they would get the same percentage of MPs as they've got popular voters. But they're all over the place, so they don't get that representation.
They have leverage. So they can combine with Yadavs in Bihar, Yadavs in UP, with some of the others, and then they can come to power. But even those parties, say Yadav parties, don't give the Muslims anything. Azam Khan? So what Muslim talent have these parties created?
Actually, it is the party's fault also, and not just the BJP. BJP, of course, is on the extreme. About 2% of its candidates are Muslim. 2% in a country with 14% Muslim. But Congress also, only 7%. Half the percentage of Muslims in the population. Well, let's move on from that, and let's look at the phenomenon of young voters in this country. It's just diametrically opposite to our MPs. Just look at the figures involved here. India is a country of young voters and old or elderly MPs. The percentage of young voters in India, that's saying under 40, about Dorab's age, under 40 voters are 60%. The percentage of MPs who are over 40, older MPs, 85%. So 60% of our country is young and 80% of our parliament is old. Shekhar, how can you explain that? They respect elderly people?
Yes, absolutely, because you take time getting some akal. But you look at the world around us, people are retiring in their early 50s as two-term presidents of America. But this country has remained very rooted in this culture, but things are changing. You find many more younger chief ministers now than before, because that's where the power resides at this moment.
So we asked, actually we did find a lot of youngsters worrying about this, and Tejashwi has an advantage because he's young. And even in the national level, listen to what this young voter had to say in a small market town in Bihar.
देश को अब युवा हाथों की ज़रूरत है। देश अब युवा की ज़रूरत है। देश को युवाओं को अपनी शक्ति अब दिखाने की ज़रूरत है। और 5 साल तो भाजपा की सरकार को लोगों को देख ही लिया। लोगों ने 5 साल देख लिया। अब देश को युवा, राहुल गांधी एक युवा का एक सिंबल है। राहुल गांधी इज सिंबल ऑफ यूथ एंड ऑल्सो प्रियंका गांधी बोथ एंड so I will go with Rahul Gandhi.
So as I mentioned, being young as a politician can actually be an advantage now because you can distinguish yourself from the rest. Is that true about journalism as well? No, not really. Anyway, we won't go down that route. So Tejashwi, as we mentioned, has an advantage here. So we caught up with him and you can see the enthusiasm of his supporters for this young politician. Thank you very much for taking time. I know how rushed it is. Amazing response you're getting. What do you feel about the combined opposition? It's a huge, two big blocks, but very different ideologies, and they've come together for elections.
हमने पहले भी कहा था,
जी हाँ,
देश फटा हुआ है। जैसे कपड़े फट जाते हैं तो उसको सिलने के लिए सुई का काम आता है। तो हम लोग जो है सुई का काम कर रहे हैं। हम लोग अलग अलग धागों से, यानी अलग अलग विचार की पार्टियां हैं, देश को जोड़ने का काम कर रही हैं अलग अलग धागों से। तो हम लोग, तलवार जो है हमेशा फाड़ने का काम करता है, तलवार जोड़ नहीं सकता। तो हम लोग सुई का काम कर रहे हैं। देश में जिस प्रकार से जहर की राजनीति बीजेपी के लोगों ने सांप्रदायिकता को फैला करके की है, भाई को भाई से लड़ाने का काम किया है, विकास नहीं विनाश की राजनीति की है, तो इसलिए हम सब लोगों को महागठबंधन बना करके, ठीक है एक नेशनल लेवल पे जिस प्रकार से सोचा जा रहा था वैसा नहीं हुआ, लेकिन स्टेट वाइज अगर आप देखें तो हर जगह जो रीजनल्स पार्टी है उनका गठबंधन हो रखा है। और मेरे ख्याल से ये बीजेपी को हराने के लिए काफ़ी है। आप देखिएगा मेजर स्टेट्स यूपी, वहाँ बसपा और सपा की जो गठबंधन है काफ़ी मजबूत स्थिति में है। हम लोगों ने जो यहाँ गठबंधन बनाया, अच्छा हुआ कि पलटू चाचा चले गए, वो जहाँ जाएंगे वहाँ की नाव डुबाएंगे। और कुछ दिन पहले अभी आपने देखा होगा कि मोदी जी और नीतीश जी जो है एक दूसरे को शक की नज़र से देख रहे हैं। और कुछ दिन पहले, 2-3 दिन पहले नीतीश जी ने अपने नेताओं से ये बुलवाना शुरू कर दिया कि नीतीश कुमार विल बी दी पीएम फेस, यानी वो जान रहे सिचुएशन की हालात क्या होने वाली है, बीजेपी गेन नहीं करेगी, तो अभी से वो भूमिका जो है, ग्राउंड जो है वो बनाने की तैयारी कर रहे हैं।
तो इसीलिए अभी तक 6 राउंड का इलेक्शन हुआ है। आपको लगता है कि बीजेपी का पलड़ा भारी है? जो मुद्दा आप उठा रहे हैं उसके सामने बालाकोट या नेशनल सिक्योरिटी, ये सब राष्ट्रवाद का मुद्दा ज़्यादा हावी है।
देखिए, हम लोग पहले से शुरू दिन से कह रहे हैं, हम मोदी की बात नहीं करेंगे, मुद्दे की बात करेंगे। मुद्दा क्या है? किसानों का आय दुगुना हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, रोजगार के बारे में बात करो, गरीबी के बारे में बात करो, महंगाई के बारे में बात करो, एजुकेशन सिस्टम के बारे में बात करो, संवैधानिक संस्थानें जितने भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल आपके इंस्टीट्यूशंस थे उस पर जिस प्रकार से हाईजैक कर रखा है मोदी जी ने, मैं तो कहता हूँ ऑल द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल इंस्टीट्यूशन आर वर्किंग लाइक अ बीजेपी सेल। पार्टी का जिस प्रकार से प्रकोष्ठ काम करता है वैसे ये काम कर रहे हैं। तो संवैधानिक संस्थानों को बचाओ, संविधान को बचाओ, लोकतंत्र को बचाओ, और मोदी जी के पास कोई मुद्दा नहीं। मैंने 2-3 दिन से मैं इंटरव्यू देख रहा हूँ मोदी जी के, कोई काम की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं। क्या बात कर रहे हैं? रडार की बात कर रहे हैं। मतलब उस पर तो काफ़ी क्रिटिसिज्म हुआ है प्राइम मिनिस्टर का। बादल में फाइटर प्लेन जाने से रडार से बाहर कैसे हो सकता है? और एक जो कहीं 95 में इंटरनेट आया, पता नहीं 87 में उन्होंने इंटरनेट कैसे यूज़ किया। तो ये सारी जो बातें हैं, आप देखिएगा जब मुद्दे की बात करोगे तो बीजेपी जो है राष्ट्रवाद की बात करेगी। मैं कहता हूँ किसान अगर हमारा देश का मजबूत होगा, उनकी आय दुगनी होगी तो वो भी तो राष्ट्रवाद है। गरीबी मिटेगी तो वो भी तो राष्ट्रवाद के हित में वो काम हो रहा है। नौजवानों को रोजगार मिलेगा, नौजवान तरक्की करेंगे तो हमारा राष्ट्र मजबूत होगा, तो वो भी राष्ट्रवाद है।
Missing your papa? How much you are missing him?
मेरे से ज़्यादा बिहार की जनता जो है लालू जी को मिस कर रही है। और मुझे बहुत दुख हुआ, कल नालंदा में नीतीश कुमार जी ने कहा कि मैं लालू यादव को जेल से नहीं निकलने दूंगा। देखिए, जो लोग संविधान की ज्ञान बांट रहा है उनको ये पता होना चाहिए कि जुडिशियल जो आर्किटेक्चर है, ये कोर्ट विल डिसाइड कि लालू जी बाहर आएंगे कि नहीं आएंगे। लोअर कोर्ट का फैसला था, हम लोग हाई कोर्ट में अपील में हैं। लेकिन हम लोग जो आरोप लगाते थे कि नीतीश जी और बीजेपी के लोगों ने मिलकर फंसाया, he accepted that.
In the case of hung parliament, who will be your prime minister's candidate? Rahul Gandhi or Mayawati?
चलो, मुझे खुशी है कम से कम हंग के बारे में तो बात हो रही है, वरना एक तरफा ही लोग बात करते थे। देखिए, कहीं कुछ नहीं होगा। सब लोग रूठे हुए हैं मोदी जी से, खास तौर पे जितनी रीजनल्स पार्टी हैं, दे ऑल आर अपसेट। हम तो कई मीटिंग्स में गए, आई हैड अ मीटिंग विद ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द लीडर्स जो भी रीजनल्स पार्टी के हैं, दे ऑल आर अपसेट विद बीजेपी, फ्रस्ट्रेटेड विद बीजेपी। लोग पूछते हैं कि दूल्हा कौन होगा, हम बोलते हैं दुल्हन का है। पहले ये बताओ, दूल्हा तैयार है, बैंड बाजा तैयार है, दुल्हन बताइए कौन है।
So that was the young and articulate son of Lalu Prasad Yadav. So Manish, he has this advantage of being young and energetic compared to all the other leaders.
Yes, clearly that advantage he has, but he doesn't have that kind of mass support which his opponent have, built together in Bihar. But somewhere I think, he is learning by his experience. He is, maintaining his party. He is leading from the front, and he has got this bigger coalition this time. It is yet to be seen that how much it pays off in this election. But of course, he is saying that time is on his side, and he is just, in the absence of Lalu Yadav, nobody expected Tejasvi to perform the way he is doing now.
But if I may add, all these young leaders that you see around the country, starting with Rahul, are offspring of dynasties. So the only young people who've risen by themselves are very few. There are people like Kejriwal, Sisodia, say Atishi or Jignesh Mevani, who are not quite national leaders yet. But it's very tough for young leaders to make it because entry barriers are much too high in India. All these young
dominated
leaders,
by old people.
All these young leaders have family legacies.
Journalists say the same thing.
Well, not quite, not quite.
Okay, so we talked to another not so young man, but who the young really admire, Shatrughan Sinha, and he comes up with his favorite lines at all his speeches. Just listen to Shatrughan Sinha. You're 20 years in solid politics. Is this the best decision you've ever taken or the biggest mistake you've ever made?
No, I would say that with due respect to our great leaders like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Nanaji Deshmukh, Lal Krishna Advani ji, who brought and groomed me into Bharatiya Janata Party. With due respect to them, I would say today it seems that I have taken the right decision. I have gone into the right direction and a better direction.
They would be proud of you?
I'm sure. Of course, Atalji,
Very
father
different
figure.
kind of person.
Because, of course, the father figure. Whatever I could do in my life or learned, I learned from these stalwart, these great people. And today, if they were there, would be surprised. When I came and joined a new direction, a better direction, I took Advani's blessings. He had almost tears in his eyes, but he didn't say, "Ki mat jao." He said, "Okay, love you."
If Amit Shah and Modi walked up here right now, walked up to you, what would you say to them?
No, I'll say, "Khamosh." You have to answer that. You have to answer. Be answerable. Be accountable to people. You can't just shoot and follow the shoot and scoot policy. यहाँ कह के वहाँ भाग गए भाई तो. Come here, face the people. But anyway, they're anyway facing the people now. The people's wrath, they're feeling everywhere. They're getting the anger. People have gone for the opposition in a big way. Once again, I'll reiterate what I used to say. The writing on the wall is very clear. Our Honorable Prime Minister is no longer going to be the Prime Minister of the 23rd. Mamata Banerjee, our friend, Iron Lady, has rightly said and predicted that his expiry time is over. So now, I only wish him well, wherever he wants to go. He used to say, मैं तो झोली उठा के चला जाऊंगा. Now it is time for him. झोली लो और निकलो यहाँ से.
Once more that Khamosh.
Khamosh!
शत्रुघ्न सिन्हा जिंदाबाद शत्रुघ्न सिन्हा जिंदाबाद.
Well, that's it. That's the story of the Bihar elections. Do a full circle. Two old enemies got together, become friends. On the other side, versus two old enemies who got together, become friends. And then we went through the entire gamut of young voters, women voters. That is the pride of Bihar. 7% higher turnout than men. Amazing. So amongst all this, we leave you with some bellwether seats. Whichever way these seats go, the party wins in that majority in that state. So watch out for these. We won't go through each one of them, but they're available on our website, ndtv.com. But thanks very much for watching Countdown Bihar. Don't be surprised for an amazing result here. Bye for now.